afternoon and welcome to Big Connect. I am Karen Hollis, and we believe with Big Connect that knowledge is power. I'm the young lady that's been fortunate enough that the City of Miramar has empowered to implement and develop the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program. This is the program that hosts monthly webinars to equip and empower minority, small, and disadvantaged businesses with tools, tips, and services on how they can grow their business. Today's webinar is no different. We have two wonderful panelists that's going to provide you with some additional information that we believe will be instrumental in you moving forward and getting your business up and running. First and foremost, we are going to provide vendor registration information by none other than the City of Miramar's wonderful procurement team. I continue to be amazed as to how many businesses contact me when they see us out and we're at the workshops. And one of the number one questions we continue to get is, how do we do business with the City of Miramar? Well, we're glad you asked. We're going to actually resolve that today. Vendor registration is the first step to positioning your business to be able to do business with the City of Miramar. And we have wonderful members of the procurement team that's literally going to give you step-by-step information and navigating you to ensure that by the conclusion of this webinar, I will no longer get any questions on how do I do business with the City of Miramar. You will know. Through vendor registration, you will be able to literally register your business and become a registered vendor, and they'll give you more information on how that is the tool that will position you to be able to provide your goods and services to the city. We have another panelist, the B2GNow diversity software team. This is a tool and a tip. I've been in this industry, the small business development industry, since the 90s. And one of the greatest barriers, and so many small businesses are often complaining that it's really cumbersome for a small business, a micro business, to have to go to so many different agencies just to get information on what's going on and the procurement opportunities they have available. You have to register here, register there, while major corporations and prime corporations have a myriad of staff on board that literally can assist them in this process. Micro and small businesses, we understand you're the business. And for you to have to each day go onto various sites to see what's going on can be a challenge. And so in today's technological era, I've often said we can do this better. With the given technology, how is it that we cannot improve this industry to be able to make it so that one business can sign their information one place and any and a myriad of other businesses and agencies can have access to that information? So I'm glad you tuned in today because you're going to hear some wonderful information on how you can enter your information into one system, and that one system will allow various agencies that have this system and this tool to be able to access information about you and your business. This is good news. The second thing is that in this new technological era, Big Connect is a perfect example. We did monthly workshops in person pre-COVID. This is a time that we, agencies included, are being forced to think of more technological savvy ways of doing business and ensuring that we can partake information without and keep safe and be a distance and everything. So what a perfect opportunity for us to present a webinar that will literally show you a system that will not only position you to be able to enter your information and various agencies can have access, but one of the things that I've been doing and seeing in this industry is that gone are the days of doing monitoring and compliance manually. We have projects that are going on, and recently just saw manual distribution of papers that prime contractors will have to fill out in order to make sure that they meet their monthly reporting requirements. Well, guess what? We're going to present B2GNow and the representatives of this agency. They're going to be able to give you some tools and tips, and you're going to get to see how technology has finally answered our question, can we not do it better in this diversity and inclusion industry? And the answer to that is yes. So without further ado, let us begin. Be sure, in terms of the format today, we're going to do the vendor registration with the City of Miramar first, and then we'll have B2GNow. So you have to stay tuned so that you can get information on this amazing company. we have none other than Ms. Natalie Richmond, who is with the City of Miramar's Procurement Department, along with her, another representative of this awesome team, Mr. Adriel J. Brown, which we call AJ at the City of Miramar. And these two individuals are going to help us to explain to each of you and to answer that ever daunting question we continue to get when we go out. How do I do business with the City of Miramar? How can I let the City of Miramar know that my business exists and what it is that I offer for them, just in case they're ever procuring it? So I will present to some and introduce to others, none other than Ms. Natalie Richmond. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us. Please tell the panel a little more about yourself and move forward with letting them know about vendor registration with the City of Miramar.
Thank you, Dr. Hollis. Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me, Dr. Hollis?
Yes, we can hear you, Natalie.
Yes,
Okay,
I can
great.
hear you clearly. Yes. Go right
Thank you
ahead.
so
And if
much.
you have any questions, feel free to click on the chat button on the top right and enter your questions. We will have some time to try to see if we can answer just a few questions at the conclusion of the vendor registration presentation. But even those questions that we don't get to, each and every one of your questions will be answered either during or after the webinar. Thanks again. Take it away, Natalie.
Thank you, Dr. Hollis. So my name is Natalie Richmond, as Dr. Hollis previously stated, and I am with the City of Miramar Procurement Department. I am the procurement administrator there, and I'm here to present to you vendor registration. And as Dr. Hollis stated, this is one of the first steps to getting your business up and running and going with the city for doing business with the city. So I'm just going to do a quick introduction to go over a few things about registering your business with the city. And then we're actually going to do a live walkthrough to show you what are the steps that you should take when registering your business with the city. So I always like to start off with letting everyone know what is the mission of the procurement department. And our mission is to acquire commodities, services, and construction effectively and efficiently while creating opportunities for participation and optimizing the resources of the city for maximum savings to the community. Why should you register? The reasons why you should register is that so that you are on the list to receive competitive solicitations. And we're going to go over that shortly to show you how you should get your business registered and where you should register so that you get these competitive solicitations, such as quotes, requests for proposals, bids, and requests for qualifications that the city may send out. When you register your business, you also get to be on the city's vendor list. So we maintain a large list of vendors, and sometimes we also use this list as a resource for the vendors that we have done business with in the past and those who are also interested in doing business with the city. By registering your business, also provide help to update your contact information with the city. So if anyone needs to reach out to you, whether we need to call for a quote, if procurement needs to reach out to you, or even accounts payable needs to reach out to you for any clarification, it also helps you to update your contact information, which is critical sometimes with reaching out to the businesses. And then when you register your business, you will be assigned your own vendor ID number. And you will see shortly when we go to the live demo that for existing businesses, if you want to go back and update anything under your registration, that you will need this number. This number, it's specific to your business, and this is the number that we will use to track how much we've spent and a lot of things, different things with your business. And if we want to pull up your contact information, we could just put that number in. It's like your unique ID for your business, and we could pull up your information easily with it. So here is the first step for vendor registration. We have two areas that you should register your business. The first one is to register your business on the platform that the city uses to issue competitive solicitations. And this platform is called DemandStar. You would go to www.demandstar.com. That is currently the platform that the city uses to issue competitive solicitations to the public. And when you go to Demand Star to register your business, you will have the option to select to do business with a government entity. And then you will see one of these options you will have to select. They have different plans. If you're only interested in getting quotes from one agency, such as if you're only interested in getting quotes or solicitations from the city of Miramar, you can select their basic plan. And you can see right here it says get all bids and quotes for one procurement agency, and it is free. I actually went straight to their website and took this from their website for you. And then they have the county plan. The county plan bids and quotes for all governments in a county. For example, if you want to receive all the solicitations for agencies in Broward County, you can also sign up for that, and that has a fee of $2.08 a month. And then if you want to get the state plan, for example, if you want to receive solicitations for all the agencies in the state of Florida, that is what the fee is. And there's also a national plan where it's $167 if you want to receive all the bids, all the solicitations throughout the country. So if you just want just Miramar alone, you could sign up for the basic plan and there will be no cost, and you will get notification for whenever we send out competitive solicitations. Step 2, the next step is that you also register your business with the city. And that is what we're going to do a live demo shortly to show you how you should do. This is actually where you go to the city's website to do that registration. And while I'm talking about registering your business with the city, I also want to mention for our Miramar local businesses, and that's the businesses that are within the boundaries of the city of Miramar, that it is also important that you register with the city's business tax receipt office and maintain upkeep of your business tax receipt so that you can get the preferences, because we do have preference for our Miramar local businesses. And so now we're going to go into showing you the live demonstration of how to register your business and get on the city's actual vendor list. Adriel?
While her colleagues is pulling up his screen, I'd like to say hello to all of the ones that have joined us. We are in the process of allowing our procurement department to demonstrate to each and every one of you as to how you can become registered businesses with the vendors with the city of Miramar, and to be able to access and be notified when in fact we are going to be procuring for your particular goods and services. Go ahead, Natalie.
So the first step would go to the city's website, www.miramarfl.gov.gov. That is the city's website. And then you will go to departments, and then you will go to the procurement department. AJ, are you clicking on departments? Right, okay, so there we go. And there you will see the procurement department, and then you will see a link for vendor registration. That is our wonderful procurement director there. You will see her picture, so you will know that you're under the procurement department. And you would go to vendor registration. See at the bottom to the left hand, to the left of the screen, you will see vendor registration. So when you click on that link, it will take you to this platform. So if you are a new vendor who has never done business with the city before, who has never registered with the city before, you would click the link that says new vendors. If you're an existing vendor, meaning that you've done business with the city before, you've registered your business with the city before, and you just need to do an update. For example, you need to update your telephone number or your email address, you would click on the link that says existing vendors. So today we're going to walk through and show you how to actually register if you're a new vendor, because that will cover all the areas that you need to complete. So the first step, you will be asked to set up a user ID, and AJ will just be entering just some generic information just for training purposes, just to show you what you will enter as you go along. So there's a user ID, and once you set this up, make sure that you remember it. We will not know what your user ID and password is. You will have to keep that information. You set up your password. Your password must be at least 6 characters and must contain at least one numeric character. And enter a hint so that you can remember your password. And I just want to point out on this screen as well, where it says existing vendors only. So if you've, as I stated earlier, if you've already done business with the city or you've registered your business with the city before, then you would just go straight to where it says existing vendors at the bottom. If you just kind of hover over where it says existing vendors only. And that vendor ID that I mentioned earlier in my introduction, that you will be assigned your unique a vendor ID, you would need that number to go in because you've already set up your profile with the city. So you would put in that vendor ID and your tax ID, your federal ID number, and then you will be able to log in if you are an existing vendor.
And while he's getting that to work, I will let each of you know that through vendor registration, for those of you that are not vendors, when you do this, this is what you will be telling to the communicating to the city. These are the goods and services that we want you to notify us of when you're procuring. And they will send an email directly to you. So this is exceptional information. Go ahead.
Thank you. And so the next step will be for you to enter your user contact information. So the first thing you will select is the general contact. Is it the accounts payable contact, or is it the personal purchasing contact that you're filling out the information for? Go ahead with general, Adriel. And then next you will put your name, the name of the contact person. This is the person when we reach out to the business. This is who we will ask for. Your description, which is your title, and your telephone number. Your telephone number if you want to receive text messages, fax number, and then your email address. And it's important to note that all the areas that have a red asterisk there, that it is necessary. Those areas are required. You must put some information in that field. Continue, AJ.
Natalie, we do have one question. I hate to interrupt you.
Yes,
One of the panelists wants to know, can the contact be more than one person?
yes. Actually, there is a section where you can even add additional contacts. Yes. So the next step is step 2, and now you're going to enter the company information. So before you entered your information, now you will enter the company information. So you enter the name of the company. If the company is a DBA, you enter the name that the company is doing the business as. If it's a foreign entity, you will see that there's an option there for you to select that it's a foreign entity. And then you would put the business address. You put all the address, any suite number that you have, um, and then city. And remember, as I stated earlier, that all the red asterisks areas are required. You will not be able to move forward unless you've put some information in these fields. So you enter your city, state, and zip, the country, and again, fax number. And there is a section here called geographic, and this is where you would put if you are a local business or a non-local business. And in the city of Miramar, when we say local business, we're talking about businesses that are within the boundaries of the city of Miramar. I know that neighboring cities are local, but by our definition, we're talking about a business within the boundaries of the city of Miramar. And again, you put your email address, and there's also a box for you to check if this is where we should send the remittance to, which means that should accounts payable send payment to the address that you have listed here. And then you will put your website address. You give us that information as well. That's very helpful for us to go and take a look at what are the products and services that you're offering. And then you could check if you're a minority business enterprise, a MBE. We have some listed here. We have a county business enterprise, disadvantaged business, whichever one you are, you will go and you would select that. And so you see where AJ has selected that you're a minority MB, select another one as well, AJ. And then you see where it comes up and says manage. Go ahead. So this is where you would go and you would add your certificates. So click on add certificate. And so it asks you to type the name of the agency that you're certified by, the date that the certificate, your certification was issued, and the expiration date of the certification. And then you can also type any additional notes that you would like for us to know about your certification. And if you select, go ahead, AJ. The change is complete.
Natalie, I do have another question. They said in the past, Debbie Beckford is here. She says in the past, she's she's seen the city of Miramar combined with the city of Pembroke Pines. Is this the same as being a local business? If in fact her business is in the city of Pembroke Pines, because she knows that we have the Miramar Pembroke Pines Chamber and they're combined, would that be equivalent to her being a local business in
No,
Pines?
no. The city of, you have to be registered in the city of Miramar and with a valid city of Miramar business tax receipt to be a Miramar local business. So go down, AJ. Okay, so did you select another one? Go up and I want you to select another, AJ, just so we could see that you could select multiple certifications, not just one. So make sure that you select all that applies to you. And when you select all that applies to you, you will get the option to manage each of them and attach the certification for each of them. So the next step is then you would select, we have there the gender that has a red asterisk, so that must be completed. Ethnicity must be completed, also has a red asterisk there. And then you put your federal ID. And this is, it asks you to enter it twice. AJ, I think you're not entering the same thing. That's the reason why we ask you to enter it twice. Okay, and then you put your payment terms. Is it net 30? How many days do you request payments? And then your preference for payables delivery and your preference for purchasing delivery. How do you want us to send your purchase order to you? Do you want us to mail it to you, fax it to you? Do you want us to email it to you? Continue. And so this is step 4, is giving you an overview of the information that you have just entered. Is it correct? Do you need to change it? You see a link there that says change. If you need to change anything, that's where you would click and you would go back and change it. Continue. This is taking us to step 5, where this is now asking us to look at the contact's information. Is it correct? Do you need to change anything as well? If not, then you would continue. Did you have your title correct? Did you have your telephone number and your email correct for the contact? If not, you would go back. Oh, and also the question, Dr. Hollis, new contact. This is where you can also add an additional contact. Where it says new contact, this is where you would go and you would add an additional contact for the business. Continue, AJ.
And Natalie, Debbie Beckford wants to know if you already registered currently, her business is registered in BidSync. She say, is this still required? Will she have to also become a registered vendor with the city of Miramar?
Yes, so we do not use BidSync. Earlier, I talked about Demand Star. That is a platform that the city use, and that was the first step, as I mentioned earlier. And then the second step would be to register your business with the city, which is this step that we're going through right now. So BidSync and Demand Star, they do not cross your 2 separate platforms, but we use the platform Demand Star. And so the next step, what step are we, AJ? I think we're at scroll up a little bit so I can see. Step 6. So we are at step 6 in the process. So at this step, you will be required to select your commodity codes. And this is very important because this is where you would go and let us know the type of goods and service that you provide. So if you are registered under this commodity code, and then we go in and look for the type, this is telling us the type of goods and service that you provide. So if we're looking for, I see AJ has print here. So if we're looking for a vendor who does printing, we would look at our vendors who are registered under the printing commodity code, or anything to do with printing, and then your business would come up. So then go down, AJ, so we could see some of the hit search, so we could see some of the areas that comes up for printing. And you would just select any one that your business fall in. For the goods and service that you provide. Just select a few and click add. Make sure you click add. If you do not click add, it will not be added to your profile. So it's, just selecting it alone is not final. So you select them and then you click add, and then scroll down. You should see how they're added to your profile. So there you are. It shows all the commodities that you have added to say these are the goods and services, the types of goods and services in the category that my business fall in and that I provide to you. If you've clicked one in error, you see the remove button there. You can remove it from your profile. Continue.
Okay, Natalie, we have a question. We have one from Mr. German. If the pricing is similar on an RFP, does a business located in Miramar receive preferential consideration?
Could you repeat that, Karen?
If the pricing, he wants to know if local Miramar businesses receive preferential considerations for the solicitation.
Yes. So local Miramar businesses get a 5% discount. Your price or your quote is considered at a 5% discount. For example, if you quote $100, it is counted as if you quoted the city at $95 because it has a 5% off the top. Or if we're doing an RFP process where it is a scoring process, you get an additional 5 points ahead of everybody else to start. What step are we? I think we're at step 7. Where are we? Scroll up top so I can see. So, okay, so now we're at step 10 in the process. So this is where it's a review of all the information that you have entered. The name of your business, the address, fax number, if you're a local business or not, your email address, everything that you, all the certifications, everything that you have entered. This is the overview of everything that you have entered. So you would review. If you need to change anything, this will be your time to change anything. Scroll down to the bottom. I think this is where we have the attachments. Okay, so this is very important. So earlier on, we selected that we had some certifications. And so this area here is showing you that required. See, it has 2 check mark where it says required. It says your certifications, you have to attach your certificates. And also what is required is your W-9. We got to have a completed and signed W-9 with your name, with the name of your business and your tax ID number as well. So AJ, just for training purposes, real quick, just go ahead and click register at the bottom and don't attach anything. Oh, you have to check, of course. I have read and received,
Read.
read and
Yes.
accept all. We all do accept all, right? So here you go. If you try to register and you did not submit the a copy of the certifications as you indicated that you have some certifications, you will get this notification. It says required documentation has not been provided. Your registration may be rejected or delayed without supplying all required documentation. So press cancel if you want to go back and make sure that you have the required documentation. And this is very important because once you're registered, it sends a notification to the procurement department for us to review it. So once we go in and review and we see that we do not have the necessary documentation, it will delay completion of the process because we will reach out to you and let you know that we are missing your W-9, we're missing your certification forms. Please send them so that we can attach, so that we can complete your registration for you. So AJ is just going to attach something real quick. So he's going to attach both a W-9, and you can see there it says the W-9 has been attached. And now he's going to attach a certification as well. Okay, and then you see that where it shows that your attachments are there. And now you hit register. Now you're going straight through. It says that you are registering. Do not navigate away from this screen. So that completes the vendor registration, and then it sends it on. It sends a notification to the procurement department that this vendor has registered and is now ready for you to review. Someone in the procurement department will review your vendor registration and reach out to you with your unique vendor ID number, and so that now you are an existing vendor on the city's vendor registration list. Did you have any additional questions, Dr. Hollis?
Yes, Natalie, thank you so much. This is valuable information. One of the things that we find, and I'm so glad you carefully went over it, is so many businesses do not enter all of their service areas with the NAIC codes. And so when you enter those NAIC codes, that is the information. Whenever the procurement department is procuring for a particular service that falls under that category, you will automatically receive an email. However, like you had mentioned, they'll just say, I do painting, and won't go into the detail, commercial or residential or things of that nature. And you often do not, and you're left out of opportunities because you do not provide the procurement department with sufficient information that will position them, because it's a system and it releases the information automatically. How long will it take, Natalie, after they hit submit to receive a registration confirmation?
We typically try and get back within at least a week to let you know that you are, whether we are missing some information from you or you are complete, your vendor registration is complete.
Fantastic. And with a lot of the COVID adjustments, this is one of the things why it's so critical for us to have this now. So many businesses are working from home. So many businesses have communicated to us that they're not sure if they're going to be able to go back into their, should they go in? So many businesses are now selling masks and emergency equipment. So should they go back in and update those existing registrants and let us know of the additional services that they've added? And we applaud each and every one of you. We know that it's challenging during COVID. I'm most excited and encouraged, and I'm really glad to see that businesses are reinventing themselves to be able to survive this. So we are encouraging you to go back in, look at your registration, make sure that the city, it's nice to send Dr. Hollis an email. Dr. Hollis, I'm now selling PPT. And I do forward it, that our director, Ayun, has joined us. She will let you know. I forward them each. But the more effective way to do this is to go back in, update your registration. If you're now mobile and working from home, should they go in and change that? Correct, Natalie?
Yes, and that would be for the existing vendor section that I show with your unique vendor ID. You go in and you can update all the information that you've entered as a new vendor. You can update it as an existing vendor.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Natalie. And I cannot tell you how much and how important it was. It was so important to add when we were developing the 2020 calendar of vendor registration to respond to the myriad of businesses that see me on a daily basis and say, Dr. Hollis, how do I do business? It's nice for you all to come to us. And so many reach out to the leadership. We have an amazing leadership team, all of the commissioners, all of the leaders, every employee and staff of the city of Miramar. We are here and ready and available to assist businesses. However, there is a format for positioning your business to be able to do business with the city of Miramar. And the proper way to do that is through vendor registration, because automatically this team of experts will automatically send you an email whenever and each time they're procuring for your goods and services. And at the conclusion of this webinar, I always send a thank you note for those of you that have attended our other webinars, saying thank you very much for having attended the webinar, and I will give you an actual link to the vendor registration in the procurement department, and I will also attach a step-by-step easy guide that they prepared to make vendor registration that much easier, along with the contact information at the end. Thank you again, Natalie and AJ. You did an excellent job. So now we move to the second part of our webinar. B2GNow. For decades, how can we do better? Technology is steadily progressing, and this is a good thing. What a perfect time for you to position your business. We've had webinars in the past, how to do business, and we continue to try to give you more relevant and necessary information to be able to grow your business, especially during COVID. So you will be able to see, and we'll attach some of it. We've had webinars on upcoming contracting opportunities. We have webinars that we've had on available grants that are available amidst COVID and post-COVID. So we'll be sending that information to you to carry on. But as for today, here's some information from B2GNow. This is a digital diversity software that has been designed for two reasons. It allows a simple approach, a virtual approach, how current, how perfect in this new virtual era that we're all being now forced to learn how to operate more effectively in. So why not position your business to be able to do the same? With this one system, they're going to explain to you how, and diversity experts like myself are just celebrating how we can become more technologically savvy in terms of how we manage compliance and monitoring, and how we assist businesses in being able to eliminate the amount of different areas that they have, hopefully to streamline it in a way. But I'll allow the experts to give you more information. We have with us from B2GNow, Mr. KT Harrington. He is the Sales and Marketing Director for B2GNow. And we also have Ms. Bridget O'Shea. She is an account director that we will be assisting him. Thank you all so very much for agreeing to participate in our webinar, and I'm excited to present you to our panel so that you can give them more information about this amazing digital portal. Take it away, KT.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Hollis. And that was a great introduction. And I think the important piece that I'm going to emphasize is the benefit that it has to the vendor community. Having a system of this nature, we know what's going on with COVID. We know what's going on with having to switch from physical to a virtual world. And in doing so, the B2GNow system is truly dedicated not only to the agencies that we're providing the service to, but we always keep the vendor in mind, because we understand that when it comes to your program, it's all about the vendor participation. If that vendor participation is low, then the program really does not meet its goal that it's trying to do. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And the objective is just to give you an overall view of who we are, our passion behind what we do, and then kind of show you the benefit that you're going to see as a vendor. Even as you register with the city of Miramar, I want to show you within the B2GNow system what that means to other agencies within your geographical region as well. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, who are we? The company with the funny name, right? B2G actually stands for Business to Government. And this is what we do. We've been doing this for 21 years. And the objective of the system is to truly get the agencies out of the manual work that it takes to actually have contract compliance, certification, and other different aspects of the diversity and inclusion program. Really, really important for us to really extenuate some of the pieces here that I'm going to mention out. So again, we are the leading diversity management solution in the nation with over 280 clients, from Hawaii DOT all the way to New Jersey Transit, and everything in between. And we service so many different types of clients: DOTs, cities, corporations, universities, independent public schools. We are there to help those that are truly the front line to getting subcontractors and vendors the business that they so desperately need, especially now during COVID. A couple of things that I want to mention on this particular slide is that we are 100% web-based solution. This is very important, especially when we start talking about the contract compliance piece, because within that piece, from a prime subcontractor relationship, if the prime states that they've paid you a certain amount, we want to make sure that you have the ability to confirm that you've actually been paid that certain amount. So we want to make sure that there's no ambiguity there. And in doing so, we have to be web-based, because we know that the vendors and the subcontractors, you guys are out there doing the important work. You got boots on the ground. You're building our infrastructure. Great. So if you're having to confirm the system, we don't want to have you drive all the way back to your office just to confirm a payment. The system is actually mobilely accessible, where you can actually do that same level of confirmation on your cell phone or any other tablet device. Very important to identify. Why B2GNow? And this kind of speaks to a couple of reasons. Why did Dr. Hollis knock on our door? And there's so many different reasons. One is because she has the vision, right? A lot of organizations, as you mentioned before, they just haven't shake the hands of technology as well as they should. So she's seen this before, as she's been in the industry for so long. But the reason why we've seen such success is these three reasons right here. And the first one is going to be the team. At B2GNow, we have an amazing team of team members that are truly dedicated to diversity and inclusion, supplier diversity, and other aspects of diversity programs. We've actually hired those who have been compliance officers, certification managers, and others. So we've taken the big brains of the industry, actually hired them here at B2GNow. So as we're talking to the agencies to make sure that they have the right processes in place, we're talking apples to apples. We understand what they need. The second piece is the technology. So we were actually running on a SaaS-based solution, and all that basically means is that we're running on a cloud infrastructure. And for that, we use Amazon Web Services. And the reason that we choose Amazon Web Services is because it is the most secure and reliable web-based solution that's out there right now for cloud infrastructure. And we understand that for us, we're talking government contracts. For the certifications, we're talking about P&W statements, we're talking about tax IDs. All that information really needs to be locked down. That data needs to stay secure and reliable, and we feel very confident in that. And then the third piece is our years of experience. You know, being in the industry for 21 years, we've seen the changes. We've seen the differences that have occurred, and especially now within the last few months with the pandemic. So we want to make sure that we have this experience, and within that experience, we can share certain knowledge across the board as well. This kind of speaks to the technology a little bit more. Not to go too far in detail, but the one bullet that I really wanted to accentuate, of course, yes, we are very comprehensive. We allow for the configuration, and by that I mean that we're truly building the system to fit the need of the agency themselves. But you'll see here in a minute how we actually keep the vendor in mind when we do so. We are very cost effective. And then that third bullet where it talks about the collaborative architecture for the one-stop solution for the vendor community, this is highly critical, and this is the reason why we're here. This is the reason why Dr. Hollis wanted us to speak. When you register with any agency that has the B2GNow system, your vendor profile becomes a public profile that any agency can see. Now, of course, you can break it down to your geographical region, but it allows you to be seen where you probably would not be seen without having a system of this nature. Okay, so that's very important. And when I get into the system here a little bit, I'm gonna show you what that actually looks like. Security and reliability, we do not take this lightly. 99.9% availability, the system is gonna be up and running for you. If you can get to the internet, you can get to the B2GNow system. There's no in between. Very, very important. It's gonna be able to integrate with other systems, be able to integrate with the payment system. I'm gonna show you what that means here in a little bit. And then, of course, it's going to be scalable and optimized. And upon purchasing the B2GNow system, the agencies are going to have access to over 800,000 vendors across the nation. Now, of course, again, we break that down to your geographical region, and that's where you will be seen. But before I go into the system, I want to kind of talk about the automated compliance audit process, because this is very important. And when I talk about the automated compliance process, what this means is that on a monthly basis, we are going to have the primes actually verify the information that they've sent to you as far as payment and what they've stated within that contract, and give you the ability to actually confirm that payment. I want to show you how this looks. So first and foremost, we're going to pull over that financial management system data that actually tells us that the prime has been paid. Okay, the prime has been paid. As soon as that happens, the prime is going to receive a notification that basically says, hey, prime, congratulations, you got paid. But now we need you to go into the system and actually place in the payments that you've made to the subcontractors. Now, they can do it a couple of ways. It's going to be line item out where they can just place that information in there. Or if it's a large project, they can actually do a payment upload and automatically place that information in there through a data mapping file. Either way, we need to understand what the primes have actually paid their subcontractors within that month. Now, as soon as they hit enter on all those subcontractors that they've stated that they paid, we don't necessarily want to take their word for it, right? We want to make sure that the subcontractors have the ability to actually confirm. So as soon as they hit save, automatically, every single subcontractor is going to receive a notification that basically says, hey, the prime stated that they paid you X amount of dollars on this day. We need you as a subcontractor to go into the system and actually confirm that you received payment. Cash in hand, not an IOU, not a promise, cash in hand, right? So prime example, if I am the subcontractor and my prime stated that they paid me $50,000 last month, I can simply get that notification, see that I've been paid, place that information in, 2 clicks. Yes, I've been paid. Put in the date of which you've been paid, because we not only want to track how much you've been paid, we want to actually track prompt payment as well. As we know, during these times, a lot of small businesses are going payroll to payroll. So we got to make sure that that prompt payment process is happening. Okay. So if that happens, audit is complete, everybody's happy, high five, and we're out, right? However, what if there is a discrepancy? What instead of that $50,000, I only received $25,000, or I didn't get paid at all, or I got the payment, but it was 3 months late, which put my business in jeopardy? Either way, we want you to be able to create that discrepancy within the B2GNow system, right? And when you do so, you can upload documents. You can even upload a picture of the check you received. We want to make sure that all that information is going to be received within the system, because that information, that discrepancy is going to go back to the prime to resolve. And we do that for a few reasons. One, we want to make sure that the prime and your subcontractors are managing their own relationship, right? So that information's got to go back to the prime. But another part is because you've uploaded all that information that talks about the reason why you created that discrepancy. We want the primes to be able to resolve this in a timely manner, right? And here's what we've noticed across the nation for the most part. It's not the primes trying to get over on the subcontractors. It could be a clerical error. And that's what we see a lot. You know, somebody moved the decimal point, the comma wasn't in the right place, whatever the case may be. But when it's all said and done, the agency, City of Miramar is going to have access to be able to see every single piece of this, because an audit process means an audit trail. An audit trail means we need to know who did what and when in the system. So we're tracking your actions with a timestamp of when that actually occurred. Okay. So without further ado, let me go into the system and kind of show you some things. So here's the dashboard, and I'm not going to go to the full, I can be on the phone for at least 4 hours talking about this at the very least, seriously. But what I want to show you is the benefit that it's going to have to you, right? So as I'm currently I'm in a test system, but I'm in the city of Houston, right? Now imagine I'm in the city of Houston right now, but what I'm going to do is go over and do a search within that vendor database that we've been talking about, right? That 800,000 vendors that are across the board. What does that look like? How do I break that down to who I want to actually look for? So I hit vendors. When I click vendors, what it's going to do is bring me into our amazing search engine for the B2GNow system, right? That search engine allows the agency, your primes, to actually identify who they're looking for. So let's go in, and again, I am in the city of Houston, but I'm going to do a search within the great city of Miramar, right? And similar to what you saw within the demand star, we're going to be able to actually identify which commodity codes you work within as well. Again, keep it in mind that the objective is to make it easy for the agency, because if we take away the manual work that they're doing on a daily basis, that gives them the time to truly concentrate on the outreach, being in the community, and really talking to you to find out how they can help you the best. So I could put the commodity code here, and depending upon the classification system, I know that in the Florida region, the NIGP is probably the most popular classification system. So we're going to build that for the city of Miramar to make sure that that's within there. But let's say I use the next codes. And instead of me trying to memorize all the next codes, I can simply put in a keyword, such as I'm looking for agencies that do concrete. Then I hit search. And what the system is going to do is actually pull up all the commodity codes that have concrete within them. And then as a staff member, I will simply go in and add which ones are going to be applicable to my search. Real slick, real easy, right? But let's go let's go further. So now, if I'm looking for certified firms, truly certified firms, here's where I can actually identify. Am I looking for a DBE, SBE, MBE? What am I looking for, right? And again, given the ability to go down to a more targeted search to make sure that who we're reaching out to, who we're trying to get on this contract, is actually validated as a certified firm if it does have a diversity goal on top of it. Again, we can track all vendors, but we want to make sure that you have the agency has the ability to actually see those diversified firms as well. And here, I can go down to the status, right? I want to see currently certified, but then also one of the aspects that we want to make sure that agencies understand is that they can look at recently certified, because we know that the primes get used to using the exact same subcontractor. So we want to make sure that they have the ability to see those that are recently certified to increase their level of outreach and increase those opportunities for those smaller businesses, right? And then I can go down, I can break it out by ethnicity, I can break it out by gender, and even geographical location, as we can add more fields in the system. So again, I'm going to do a full search on all the vendors that are in the B2GNow system that are located in Miramar. Again, I'm in Houston, right? And so imagine if you were to do this, 288 firms that are in the B2GNow system. And again, I'm in Houston. I can't restate. I'm in Houston, but I'm looking at the Miramar, Florida as well. So very, very cool way. And just to end this, I want to kind of show you how the reporting works for the different agencies as well. So let's do go reports. Let's take a look at the full list. And at the B2GNow system, we believe that yes, the bloodline is the vendor participation, but it doesn't matter if you cannot report on it. If you cannot report on it, it doesn't exist, right? So we want to make sure that within the different modules that you may purchase, you're going to have access to all these, the agency is going to have access to all these different types of reports. And I know I'm going back and forth here. So let me take a look. I'm going to run let's run the contract payment summary, right? So I'm going to pick a date, right? Let's go back to March 1st up until today's date, and view the report, right? Now, again, this is for the agency to utilize, but it's still important for the vendor to understand how important this data is and to understand that the B2GNow system is truly there to do all the data capturing to make sure that the agency has all the information in front of them to be strategic, has all the information in front of them to identify which agencies they need to reach out to, or even down to the ethnicity. How can we increase certain communities? How can we increase that level of participation within certain communities? One thing that we pride ourselves on at B2GNow is that we manage the data, but the agency owns the data. So again, from that manual piece that we talked about, you can export this, an agency can export this report that's going to come up here in a second to any type of format whatsoever. So if you're looking for someone to identify from an Excel, PDF perspective, they're going to be able to see this information. So when the report comes up, you're actually going to see how the system is collecting all that data when it comes to total spend. Of that total spend, how much of it went to certain diversity types. And this is, again, I'm in the city of Houston, and within that time frame that I place that data in there, I can see that the city of Houston paid out $107.9 million. Of that $107.9 million, 45.3 million of it went to these diversity types. And here you're going to see some local, you're going to see some DBEs and WBEs, and give you a nice little pie chart. But then of those, how many of those were within these certain ethnicities? So now the agency is going to have the ability to actually see how they're doing within certain communities. Very, very important. And then, of course, breaking it out by gender, extremely important as well, and the different geographical locations, okay? But the ability to take this data and export it to any file necessary is really, really going to benefit the city of Miramar. And again, the objective here is to truly, truly give the city of Miramar the ability to have all this information in front of them, be able to report upon it so they can identify how best they can help you as the subcontractor or someone who's registered in the system that's looking at business. Because we all know that when it comes down to it, this is business, right? I mean, one of the statements that's always made, and I always correct people on this, is that within diversity and inclusion, it's about, getting everyone a seat at the table. Sounds great. I love that. That's good. However, if the seat doesn't have money in the middle of it, we're wasting time on those businesses. So it has to be within the contracts. It has to be within the opportunity that is out there. Don't sit me at a table where I won't benefit because I got my employees who are feeding their families. So I got to make sure that if we're going to sit at the table, put money in the middle of it so I can make sure that I'm chasing what I need to be chasing and don't waste my time. So very, very important to identify. And I guess I'll open it up for any questions that we may have. I just wanted to kind of show you how the system collects all that data for you. Dr. Hollis?
KT, you could not have said it. One of the things that's so important, they say two things. Corona is the virus, but lack of preparation is the true pandemic.
Oh.
We are really trying to, I do not underestimate the value of your time as a small business, as a local business. I understand the importance, especially amid COVID, of how important it is for us to be introducing information that can ultimately lead to more work. No longer are firms afforded the luxury of just attending webinars just because. They're literally looking for opportunities. Now, I have to ask some questions. I do have two. One wanted to know is, does that mean we have this Big Connect and the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program? We present this platform to allow businesses, and we do local small businesses that we've allowed to be able to actually present their business offerings. B2GNow, when I go back, last month's webinar was NOS. When I learned that there was an organization that was assisting minority businesses and being able to fill out the PPT and all of these PPE forms and everything free of charge, I had to call this company and I made them available, and I wanted the businesses. You know about the SCORE. We know about the local things. No one, I had not heard, the number of years in this industry, I had never heard of NOS. And so when I hear of different things that are being implemented in the industry that I know would be of value to our local, small, and minority businesses, this is the platform that we've developed to ensure that we allow them an opportunity to come and showcase. I see two questions, but I want to ask the question that I know that will help all of you. Now, Mr. KT, when you showed the Florida, the United States um, map, and you
Yeah.
had all those wonderful dots of where B2GNow is, I counted.
Yeah.
There are 12 dots in the state of Florida. Are you saying to my businesses that if they were to go to, let's say we know that Miami-Dade School Board has B2GNow. Let's say they were to down go and register onto Miami-Dade School Board and to be a part of the B2GNow system. Will their information be available to all 12 agencies within the state of Florida that has B2GNow?
Absolutely. And to be completely honest, that's an older map. So we might be at 15 or 16 by this point, right? But yes, that and honestly, that's the beauty behind us building this vendor database, is to make it organically grown, but more importantly, just like I did a search within the city of Houston and I was able to find vendors within Miramar, normally city of Houston wouldn't even know where to look as far as Miramar is concerned, so they're not going to look. But the other agencies, the other 14 to 15 to 20, I don't even know, it's quite a bit. They are going to be able to do that geographical search, break it down by their location, and then those vendor profiles are going to show up. And it's very, very important that as you look at the B2GNow system, as you start working within the B2GNow system, if you have a vendor profile, please keep your information updated. Also, please, within the description, within there, add your business capability statements. We want to make sure that it's a one-stop shop for those agencies to find you. So yes, the answer is absolutely, Dr. Hollis.
Okay, now, Miss Noel, I got Noel, unfortunately has to leave, but wants to know, is there any way she can get a copy? I will tell each and every one of you, we're actually recording this webinar, and you will be forwarded a copy of the recording. We have Paul that works on our team. He's very diligent about that. In fact, we had at least 5 or 6 agencies that did up and coming webinar opportunities. And we were able to, in all of those upcoming contracting opportunities that still exist, you can see that webinar. All of those available grants that are outstanding, you can go back and see that webinar. We will be recording. And KT, are you able to, I don't know that you can, the presentations or something that I can forward to the business?
Yeah, I mean, we have this presentation across the board, so I'll be more than happy to provide you the PDF version of that particular one. Yes.
Another question, Freddie Castillo, Action Group MGMT. It is registered. They're already registered with you. All certifications, they say, are easy to keep up with. They're giving you a plug. We have someone that they're already registered in B2GNow, and they wanted me to make sure that the other businesses know that it's easy to keep up with this platform. And it's something that they know and they've registered with in their certifications. And that's key because, again, gone are the days of needing 15 and 20 people to manage these programs when there's technology that is available that can assist in being able to do. There are projects that we're doing now. I was shocked, emails, documents that primes have to complete and submit. And this is, if I heard you correctly, KT, I want you to confirm. This system will allow the subs to get notification when the agency pays the prime. You know, if you are a prime or a sub, especially a sub, no matter the tier, the primes do not always notify you when they're being paid by the agency. But I did hear you say that, correct?
Absolutely. And not only identifying that the prime got paid, but you can actually set it up where you can see how much the prime got paid, right?
And that will be depending on what the agency want to do.
Absolutely. And another very, very important piece that I missed during that presentation is when we talk about the tiers, right? We have a lot of agencies that go first tier, second tier. The B2GNow system is tracking 10 tiers deep into subcontracting. I cannot stress that enough, because when you have that spider web of subcontractors, when you have that third tier, that fourth tier, that fifth tier, and even if they're at that point only getting $5,000 within that contract, well, that could be $5,000 that month that keeps them in business. Also, it's $5,000 that they can add that particular project to their resume. So now it opens up the gambit for that as well. So very, very important. So I want to say thank you to the person that actually mentioned how easy it is to have the system and the benefits as well.
Exactly. That's Mr. Castillo. Now, another thing that I love, we're in the process of one of the largest projects of the city of Miramar, and I'm on these construction closeout meetings. And I'm sending, as an agency, we send an email to the prime please confirm that you have paid everyone that's worked on this project. Now, this is a tool that's not only, because we love to beat up on the primes, that's going to allow the subs to see when the prime, but the primes are going to be able to make sure that the subs that they bring on are paying the other tiers in accordance with what they've agreed. So
Yes.
this is a great tool for prime contractors in terms of reporting, as well as them making sure that their subs are doing what they're required to do.
Yes, and when you mentioned the notifications, the system is really based on those notifications. If the prime isn't placing the information out there within a certain time, because we know that an agency has a net 14 or net 7 even as far as when they pay to when time they need to pay the subcontractors, the system is going to track to that level of notification. So the primes are going to receive notification after notification until they do what they're supposed to do. And you as a subcontractor, if you do not go in and confirm or create a discrepancy, you're going to receive notification after notification. The objective is to make sure that there are no surprises at the end of this particular contract, right? We never want to get to the end of a project to find out we didn't hit the goal. We never want to get to the end of the project to find out we did not help the business community as well as we should have. The B2GNow system is there to help with that.
And not only that, if God forbid at any of the tiers that someone doesn't get paid, I remember when I came to the city in 2018, we were shocked that I met with the small businesses that said he had worked on a project 5 years ago and had never been paid. They're going to come back to the agency. And we did some research and what have you. We literally, and I happen to be under the ACM that we're working with now, sent a letter out directing that prime, you have to pay this subcontractor. Regardless of the fact that it was several years before we even brought the program on board. So this is a great tool that we want you subcontractors to know. Technologically, systems are now in place trying to ensure that we develop systems and systems are in place to be able to do better. Guess what? Two things. Mr. Delancey, David Delancey, do you have any master plan of upcoming webinars for the remainder of the year? Yes. Everyone that's attending this webinar, you will get an email from me with all of the webinars that are going to be upcoming. In fact, we are going to, not to steal B2G's thunder, we will be doing a series of panels to ensure. One of the things, this program was developed by a diversity study. And the study concluded that we as a city can do a better job with equipping these types of information and more technical information to help a business. No, these are not the webinars that get 5,000 people to come on board, but these are the webinars that are important to give you technical tools. I see you nodding your head, thank you, that will position a business to be able to do their business more effectively. More importantly, these are the webinars that allow the organization to be able to answer some of the critical things that the diversity study, we can do a better job. Solicitations, making sure you know projects are coming up. That's why we have webinars on that. And positioning small, minority, and micro businesses to be able to. Next 4 months, we will be having a series whereby we have a panel of experts that are going to be telling you of that surtax, that $30 million a year surtax with Broward County. There are projects that are going to be released. We're going to be making sure that there are individuals, if you don't know how to fill out a solicitation, we have a company that can help you. If you are not certain as to how to price, so many of our micro businesses price themselves out of the contract. We have individuals, the chamber is going to be partnering with us and literally assisting businesses in understand how to effectively price so that at the end of the day, you don't price yourself out of an ability to earn money. Mr. Castillo, the one that gave the compliment earlier, making sure I address all of our questions, actually took the time to give us a copy of his dashboard on his B2GNow, where it shows everything. It's literally showing him all of the certification applications that have already been approved, all of his certification applications that are pending, all of his certification applications that have things that need to be submitted, and those that he has a receipt thing of the number ones. And it literally gives him, thank you so much, Mr. Castillo. Now, I will say to you that the city of Miramar is not a certifying agency. One of the things that we've done, this is a new program and we're implementing various things. At this phase, we have not implemented a certification program, but we do work with various and accept various certifications. That's also something in the next 4 series you'll be learning about. But as for today and the technology, we wanted you to make sure you have the email and contact information for everyone that presented today. This contact information sheet will be emailed to you as well. If by chance you had questions that could not be addressed or did not get addressed here effectively, please send an email to me. We are also B2GNow. KT had last question. I was so excited to hear you say the number of firms that agencies have access to once they get the system. Please tell me, does that mean having access to all those vendors, will that help us to be able to, because if I understand the system correctly, when you put the scope of work in there, it's able to develop a percentage that can be allotted to a contract, which my small businesses want to know, and they're always interested in making sure that the city of Miramar, if we do release anything or any other agency, they want you as an agency to be able to apply the greatest percentage that you can. Will the use of all of those firms assist in that process?
Absolutely. Well, actually, yes. That's the compliance level that we're talking about. So if you have a $200 million project that has a 10% DBE goal and as well as a 5% SBE goal or even another 5% WBE goal, all three of those goals are going to be identified within that contract. And then that process that I showed as far as the contract compliance piece is how that information is actually placed in the system to confirm the compliance level. So when we're saying that you're overreaching a goal, you have a 10% goal and you're doing great at 12%, awesome, because that's real information. But if we're saying that you're at 10% goal and you're currently at 8%, the system is going to let you know that as well. So you're going to be able to see those that are hitting the goals and then which contracts are not hitting the goals. Very, very important. So yes, that's actually the basis of the system. Again, we're building out for the agency, but we're doing so to make sure that the agency is, to be blunt, doing what they're supposed to do to make sure that these small businesses get not a seat at the table, but a seat at the table with money in the middle of it.
Okay, well, I have to be devil's advocate. And I see we got another question I'll get to right after. Because one of the things, remember, I've been doing this for a while. One of the things that a lot of the businesses used to with these nationwide programs, they would get calls. I love that you were able to pull up, I believe it was Houston system, and they're correct. Our diversity study concluded that we have about 266 firms that's actually listed in our study. So I love that number, seems to be accurate. But so many of the firms are getting calls from their numbers and their business. These are businesses that are being used to apply percentages. But in fact, the reality is that prime contractor, those businesses are not going to be available because most small minority and disadvantaged businesses cannot just pick up and go to Houston and work on a project. And that was a challenge pre-COVID. It's even a greater challenge now that we're in the midst of this pandemic. So how do you have something in your system that's going to ensure that any agency that use you, school board or have you with those percentages, are they accurate? Are they really looking at local, meaning even in the tri-county or the state of Florida area of the number of firms that could potentially work, more so than saying to me that I have 800,000 firms and you're going to apply this unreasonable percentage to my prime contractor, when in fact most of those businesses are not really available to do the work.
Yeah, so there's different aspects to that. So to answer that question, yes, the system is based upon making sure that that opportunity is out there and that we're tracking to that level. But more importantly, you mentioned a disparity study. The disparity study is letting you know what's not only how many vendors you have out there, but what are they capable and willing to do. So sometimes you may have this great project that's out there, but the capacity level, right? You may have Florida DOT that's using up a lot of the fencing DBEs. So that's going to be a little bit different for you to try to find those firms. Or it may be a commodity code that is so out of the box that is just not there. At least with a system that has 800,000 vendors, you can expand that to the city of Miramar. You can expand that to the county. You can expand that all the way to Florida. So you can find those. So it doesn't limit who you're actually looking for. So being able to have that search engine that goes out to that level is extremely advantageous.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, we have a question here. Let me see. Let me go down. We have a master plan. Freddie Castillo, you're welcome. That was just Freddie saying I said thank you to him. He was letting me know you're welcome. Wanted to make
Yeah,
sure.
I'm gonna need to add him to all my webinars going forward.
I know. Do we have any other questions? I do not believe, and I hope you guys can respect the fact that I respect your time. I believe on starting on time, and because if you care enough to start on time, we start on time. I also do not believe on prolonging a webinar once all of the information has been accurately and clearly distributed and there are no questions, just because we say 2 to 3. So if we do not have any questions, the one way that I believe that I get you to continue to come by and to partake of all of the opportunities and the services and the programs that the City of Miramar, through the Economic Business and Development Program, we do have our leader on board. I don't know why she's going to kill me. It's under the direction of Director Anita Fain Taylor, who is on board. I'm not exactly sure if she would love to take this moment to say hello to everyone, but we are developing programs and services and information, trying to ensure that we provide you with the most current information. We will be following up saying thanking each and every one of you for participating today, and following up with additional information as to how you can access those previous webinars we've had. We'll provide you with the panel contact information. Any additional questions that you can have, you can address them directly to either the procurement team that's going to be provided to you, and we will include the procurement director, Alicia Ayum, and you can reach out to her or any of the other panel members. Thank you all so very much for having taken the time out. Please do all you can to continue to keep safe, and know that the City of Miramar is not just open, but we're diligently working to try to continue to provide resources, services, and information to keep you informed. KT or Natalie or anyone, did you have any closing words that you wanted to say?
All I have to say is, everybody, please be safe and stay healthy, please.
Thank you all so very much. This concludes the webinar this afternoon.